What did you think when Ion Hazikostas got on stage at Gamescom earlier in August this year and introduced the Slayer's Rise battleground? Probably not too much. After all, it is just another battleground in a game where PvP is just an afterthought. However, I am going to argue that this battleground, alongside Plunderstorm and a couple Blizzard job postings, is a direct indication of something much greater at play. And that, if I am right about this, Blizzard is about to reclaim the throne of the gaming market. So, buckle up, because this is going to be a wild ride. First, let's step back a bit. Let's go back to March 2024, when Plunderstorm was released for the first time. Plunderstorm was a new way of using the WoW engine to effectively create a new game. Basically, it was Blizzard's variation on Battle Royale. You enter Arathi Highlands with 59 other players, drop down to an area of your choosing, and fight mobs and players to gain experience and skills, with the goal of eliminating all the other players and claiming the first place. While being in the WoW engine, the gameplay and UI was nothing like WoW. There was no auto-attack, the spells were skill shots rather than being targeted, and the UI was greatly simplified. Plunderstorm was a limited time event, rather than a permanent edition, and while it saw great praise from the PvP community, it was heavily criticized by the PvE community for its FOMO. For a limited time game mode, Blizzard seems to have invested a non-trivial amount of time into Plunderstorm. So, where were they going with this? Well, Blizzard has a history with trying out ideas on a smaller scale in live content before using them in larger projects. For example, Horrific Visions were actually just a dry run for Torghast. The actual merit of implementing Plunderstorm was not attracting people to Plunderstorm itself, but rather a technical test, seeing if the WoW engine could be used to develop new games and perhaps to also see what the reception would be for such a game. Now, let's think about what kind of game Plunderstorm is. You have 4 abilities, you kill mobs for experience and upgrades, and you kill enemy players for even more experience and even more upgrades. Does that ring a bell? If not, then it for sure will after this.
40v40 epic battleground, inspired by Alterac Valley, Isle of Conquest, and that general large-scale vibe. Here's a look at the overall layout of the map and how it's going to work. Push down a lane towards the opposing base, destroying their defenses, killing key NPCs along the way, and ultimately trying to defeat the opposing Dominar. But you'll be breaking off as well to recruit neutral forces to aid your side to help push that lane. So every side is going to be doing a mix of attacking, defending, and recruiting forces to help lead their side to victory.
I had already suspected that my theory was quite likely, even before the announcement of Slayer's Rise. But once I saw this, I knew I was right on the money. We have creeps from 2 opposing teams walking towards one another, and we have heroes helping them push alongside a lane. This is, without a doubt, a MOBA. This is Dota. My theory is that Plunderstorm and Slayer's Rise are a tech demo for a third-person MOBA within the WoW client. Or, at least it was supposed to be within the WoW client, initially. More on this later. But first, imagine how this would play with Plunderstorm-like characters. The responsive movement, the snappy feeling of the skill shots. I mean, World of Warcraft has some of the most responsive character control out of any game. I mean, just look at this. He has Arcan. Slice him, avoid that. He's dead. And now, look at this. I could make an entire video to explain the genius behind the responsiveness of WoW character movement, which in my opinion is WoW's greatest strength, but I don't think I need to. There is not a single person that would disagree with the fact that character movement in World of Warcraft feels much more responsive compared to other MMOs. WoW is just that good in this regard. To me, a third-person MOBA within the WoW engine is just a dream. This would probably become my new main game, and I don't think I'm the only one. The market for such games is unsaturated. There is only one contender, really, Smite. And let's be honest, that's not the best implementation of a MOBA, as I showed earlier. So, the mystery is solved, right? The next big game that Blizzard is developing is a third-person MOBA within the WoW engine. Well, it's not so simple. Let me explain. Remember what happened during Plunderstorm, especially the first time it came around? A huge part of the PvE player base hated it due to their irrational fear of missing out on collectibles. They saw the game as something they were forced into. They saw it as being forced into unconsensual PvP. And boy, were there protests. The numerous threads on the forums, people giving up or running into the storm upon the first sight of PvP, or even straight up alt F4ing so their character disconnects and the player killing them doesn't receive the reward. Presumably, such negative feedback spooked the executives at Blizzard. They probably came to the following conclusion. First, you have to own WoW and have it installed to play the third-person Blizzard Dota. Second, Dota is a PvP game. Third, most WoW players only play PvE. Fourth, general audiences will not install a huge game like WoW just to play this game mode. And maybe there were some technical limitations with the engine too. Like this stupid Z-axis bug that somehow wasn't fixed even throughout the second iteration of Plunderstorm. Almost like it was something fundamental. So what I believe happened is that they decided to turn the ship around after Plunderstorm and instead build a new game in Unreal Engine. Slayer's Rise can still be used as a testing grounds for the concept. And how do I know about this whole Unreal Engine thing? Well, it takes about 5 minutes of searching through the job openings on the Blizzard website to find out. There is a listing for a senior gameplay engineer for an unannounced game. Missions, in the title here, is just developer lingo for map design or level design. It is a general term used in order to not divulge too much information about the nature of the unannounced game. We can, however, find a few key clues in this job posting. The first one is the following bullet point: experience working on real-time 3D games. Now, this one is pretty ambiguous, but the important thing is, it does not disqualify our theory. The next bullet point which gives a hint is this one: experience using the Unreal Engine, both C++ and Blueprint. And there it is. This is how I found out about Unreal. Apart from this, there is one more very important point down here: experience working on online multiplayer games. So, we have an online, real-time multiplayer 3D game made in Unreal Engine. This is still very general, but if you connect the dots, I can see them resembling a very straight line. And there you have it. Well, I can't of course guarantee that this theory is right, but I think it's pretty damn likely. You can share your opinions down below, and by that I don't mean below the table, but rather down in the comments. Tell me what you think. Hey, I'm a Cope, the Warcraft VTuber. I mostly stream, but once in a while I make a video just like this one. I would appreciate it if you could check out my other content, right there, and my stream, right there. I stream both on YouTube and Twitch, so pick whatever you prefer. Alright, that's it. See you in the next one.